Organ of hearing, smell and taste. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to know the following. 1. The organ of hearing, structure of the ear and its functions. 2. Mechanism of hearing. 3. Mechanism of balancing. 4. Organ of smell, structure and function of nose. 5. Organ of taste, structure and functions of the tongue. The organ of hearing. Mammals possess a bilateral auditory system consisting of two ears located on each side of the head. The majority of the auditory system is protected within the skull. Its primary functions are hearing and maintaining balance. Anatomy and functions of the ear. The mammalian ear can be divided into three main parts: the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. 1. Outer ear. The outer ear comprises the following structures, starting from the outside of the organism. A. Pinna. This flexible structure is composed of soft cartilage covered with skin. The pinna collects sounds, detects their direction, and directs them into the external auditory meatus, ear canal. B. External auditory meatus. This canal is lined with fine hairs and glands that produce wax, which helps prevent the entry of germs, insects, and dust particles. It allows sound waves to pass from the pinna to the eardrum. C. Tympanic membrane, eardrum. This thin membrane vibrates when sound waves reach it. It separates the outer ear from the middle ear, and transmits sound waves from the outer ear to the middle ear. 2. Middle ear. The middle ear is a small air-filled chamber within the skull. It consists of three tiny bones called ear ossicles, malleus, incus, and stapes, and the eustachian tube. A. Ear ossicles. These bones, namely the hammer, malleus, anvil, incus, and stirrup, stapes, connect the outer ear to the inner ear. They transmit vibrations from the eardrum to the oval window, resulting in increased pressure within the window. B. Eustachian tube. This narrow tube connects the middle ear to the pharynx. It typically opens during yawning, allowing air to enter or exit the middle ear, and equalizing the air pressure on both sides of the eardrum. 3. Inner ear. The inner ear consists of a complex bony structure known as the bony labyrinth, filled with perilymph fluid. Within the bony labyrinth, there are membranous sacs and tubes called the membranous labyrinth, which are filled with endolymph fluid. The cochlea and the semicircular canals are the two auditory structures connected to the atriculus and sacculus, respectively. A. Cochlea. Shaped like a snail's shell, the cochlea is primarily responsible for hearing. It contains sensory hair cells, mechanoreceptors, that synapse with sensory neurons, forming the cochlear nerves. Together, they constitute the organ of Corti. B. Semicircular canals. These three canals lie at right angles to each other and have swollen ends called ampullae. The ampullae contain sensory hair cells and otoliths, ear stones. The semicircular canals play a crucial role in balance and maintaining the body's posture. Functions of the ear. The ear performs two major functions: hearing and balancing. Mechanism of hearing. The pinna collects and focuses sound waves, which then pass through the external auditory meatus. The sound waves cause the eardrum to vibrate, and these vibrations are transmitted to the ear ossicles, which amplify them. The oval window further magnifies the vibrations, sending them into the inner ear, cochlea, where the perilymph and endolymph fluids vibrate. These vibrations stimulate the organ of Corti within the cochlea, which converts sound vibrations into electrical impulses. The impulses then travel through the auditory nerves to the brain for interpretation. Mechanism of balancing. Movement of the head in any direction causes the fluid within the semicircular canals and the otoliths in the ampullae to move. This movement generates impulses that travel through the vestibular branch of the auditory nerves to the brain for interpretation. The brain then relays impulses to the body's muscles to maintain balance and body position. Ear disorders. Deafness is the primary disorder associated with the ear. It can be temporary or permanent and may result from various causes, including damage to the eardrum, eustachian tube, or sensory cells in the cochlea. Factors such as wax blockage, ear infections, or exposure to loud noises can also lead to deafness. Care of the ear. To maintain ear health, it is important to follow these guidelines. 1. Use cotton wool regularly. 2. Avoid using sharp objects to clean the ear. 3. Minimize exposure to loud noises. 4. Protect the ear from strong blows that could damage the eardrum. 5. Seek medical attention when experiencing any ear-related problems. The olfactory organ, nose. The nose serves as the olfactory organ in humans. The epithelial lining of the nasal cavity contains sensory nerve endings. Although humans have a relatively poor sense of smell compared to some animals like dogs, we can quickly detect smells, albeit for a limited duration. Mechanism of smelling. The nose functions optimally when moist. Smell receptors within the nasal cavity are stimulated by chemical substances. Volatile particles in the air dissolve in the mucus layer covering the receptor cells in the nostrils. Stimulation of these receptors generates nerve impulses that travel through the olfactory nerve to the olfactory lobe of the brain. The brain then interprets the type of smell detected. The organ of taste, tongue. Taste buds, which are sensory cells, are responsible for detecting taste. These taste buds are located on small protrusions on the tongue's exposed surface. 4 sensory nerves connect the taste buds to the brain, enabling the interpretation of taste sensations. The tongue is sensitive to 4 primary tastes. A. Sweet, detected by chemoreceptors at the tip of the tongue. B. Salty, detected by chemoreceptors at the side, frontal area, of the tongue. C. Sour, detected by chemoreceptors at the side, towards the back, of the tongue. D. Bitter, detected by chemoreceptors at the back of the tongue. Mechanism of tasting. When substances are placed in the mouth, chemicals dissolve in the saliva on the tongue's surface. This dissolution stimulates the sensory nerve endings within the taste buds, which then transmit impulses to the brain for interpretation as sweet, bitter, sour, or salty tastes. Note: smell and taste are closely related sensations, and we often experience them together. When we eat or drink, taste receptors are stimulated, and simultaneously, flavor-producing chemicals dissolve in the moist air within the mouth and flow into the nasal cavity, stimulating smell receptors. The sensation of smell is often more pronounced than that of taste. General evaluation. 1. Advantages of having 2 ears. Having 2 ears provides several benefits, including improved sound localization and a more accurate perception of sound intensity. It also aids in better speech comprehension and enhances the ability to differentiate between different sound frequencies. 2. Types of deafness. There are 2 main types of deafness. A. Conductive deafness. This type occurs when there is an issue with sound conduction in the outer or middle ear, such as damage to the eardrum or ear ossicles. B. Sensorineural deafness. This type is caused by damage to the sensory cells in the inner ear, cochlea, or the auditory nerve pathways. 4. Mechanism of smelling. Smelling involves the stimulation of smell receptors in the nasal cavity by volatile chemical substances. These receptors generate nerve impulses that are transmitted to the olfactory lobe of the brain for interpretation. 5. Functions of the organ of smell. The organ of smell serves the following functions. A. Detection and interpretation of various odors. B. Triggering emotional and memory responses associated with certain smells. C. Influencing taste perception through the interaction between smell and taste sensations. D. Acting as a warning system by detecting potentially harmful substances or gases in the environment.